I would never actually do it. Like, ever. But I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people. 'Cause it's really dumb.
Nicole Kidman just found out that Blake Lively was secretly sabotaging Sydney Sweeney in one of the coldest and most planned out ways imaginable. But Sydney didn't back down. She refused to sign the NDA, and that one quiet decision turned the whole industry upside down.
Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney broke down in tears on an emotional live.
What came next wasn't drama. It was Blake being quietly and brutally replaced behind the scenes.
Why is this happening?
We're talking about March 2024, that dinner. The one that looked like a harmless girl boss hangout, but was really a high-level emergency meeting disguised under soft candlelight. Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, and Sydney Sweeney all sat at one table in Brentwood. No press, no PR stunts, no Instagram posts, just one blurry photo that leaked from a casting assistant's private story. And Sydney, bless her heart, looked like she truly believed this was her big moment, like she'd finally made it. But it wasn't a celebration. It was a rescue mission.
I've noticed that they will do anything and everything to be famous.
Sydney sat there, nervous and grateful, probably thinking, wow, I'm finally in the room. But what she didn't realize was that she was only in that room because someone powerful, someone blonde, obsessed with fake feminism and strangely allergic to seeing other women win, had her in the crosshairs. That someone was Blake Lively, and the universe gave Reese a warning just in time. Only 8 hours before the dinner, Reese got a strange call from a brand partner, not a producer, not a friend, but someone with money and serious influence. The message was short, cold, and sharp. Blake's people are circling Sydney. That's it. No extra details, just a clear PR war alert. Now let's be real. Is there any powerful woman in the industry Blake and Ryan haven't tried to quietly take down? Reese and Nicole knew exactly what was happening. This wasn't their first run-in with Blake's tactics. They've seen the pattern before. Blake finds a younger rising actress, pretends it's some cute girl power moment for the media, and then slowly shifts all the spotlight back to herself while the other girl fades away. It's like she's running her own personal Hunger Games for attention, and her arena is Instagram.
I spent enough time with this family to speak about personal relationships and who they really are. How Blake Lively is displayed today in the media as a diva and someone who just tried to steal this movie and so on. All of that is true. That's Lively family.
So Reese does what any seasoned Hollywood queen would do. She doesn't panic. She doesn't scream into her Hermes bag. She calmly picks up the phone and calls Nicole, because when you see a storm coming, you call the only other woman who survived just as many. And between Reese and Nicole, they've weathered more than a few PR hurricanes. Now here's the coldest, most savage line of the night. Reese leans in and quietly tells Sydney, if Blake's team reaches out, smile, be polite, then forward it to me. Not run, not don't respond, not block and delete, just forward it. Reese knew exactly what kind of game was being played, and her message was clear. Let Blake trap herself in her own web of fake feminist PR.
Crazy character journey for her and for all the other characters, and I absolutely wanted to dive in.
Just like clockwork, Blake Lively didn't even wait 3 days before making her move. Less than 72 hours after the drama began, a polished pitch deck, complete with glossy visuals and studio-level fonts, showed up in the inbox of a streaming executive. The surprise? It was for a new limited series starring 2 female leads, with Sydney Sweeney attached and the writing credited to Blake's team. But here's the shady part. There was no mention of Reese Witherspoon or Nicole Kidman, like they'd been completely erased. It felt like Blake was trying to pull the oldest trick in the PR book. Attach herself to a buzzworthy project and sort out the messy details later. She didn't wait for approval. She just waited for people to find out after it was already in circulation. Typical girl boss move. Her team works so fast it's almost scary. This project wasn't even a topic of conversation 2 weeks ago, and suddenly, Blake had a deck being shopped around with Sydney's name on it. But here's the kicker. Sydney had no idea it existed. As soon as she found out, Sydney texted Reese in a panic. Her exact words were, "I didn't sign anything. I don't even know what this is. Let that sink in." The supposed lead actress of the show didn't even know it was happening. Meanwhile, Blake was already leaking it to the press like it was the next Big Little Lies, just without the talent, direction, or actual consent. Then internal memos from the streaming service started to float around, and guess whose name was all over them as the lead? Blake, and whose name was completely missing? Sydney's. That's what we call a classic eraser move, hidden behind a smug smile and a perfectly filtered pastel Instagram post.
Everybody always praised for how beautiful she is, how ideal looking she is, was brought to tears by so many people on Twitter.
It started with Whispers, a female-led prestige drama pitched by Blake Lively, starring a Gen Z actress. Everyone knew that meant Sydney Sweeney. But behind the scenes, Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman had already set the table, and Blake wasn't invited. Nicole and Reese were slated for Variety's Women in Power panel. It quietly vanished days after Blake's project leaked. Coincidence? Please. That wasn't a cancellation, it was a warning shot. Instead of clapping back, Nicole and Reese went quiet. And nothing hits harder in Hollywood than cold silence from women who actually have power. They didn't block Blake. They just moved on, strategically, methodically, without saying a word. Then it dropped. Apple TV Plus updated Q3 preview, a show called Inheritance starring Nicole and Sydney. Reese producing. No Blake. No shootout. Not even a special thanks. Blake's team panicked. Apple didn't return calls. Shared stylists ignored messages, and when an old 2023 pitch deck leaked, it was over. Nicole and Reese had been working on this long before Blake tried her soft girl hijack. She wasn't pushed out, she was never even in the room. Blake tried damage control, PR fluff about creative direction, some sad studio selfies, captions like it's not about the noise. But nobody cared, not her team, not her fans, not the algorithm. Then came Sydney's silent revenge. She refused to sign an NDA Blake's camp sent, just asked one question, did Blake send this? And walked away. The internet did the rest. Fan edits resurfaced. Casting trackers flagged new Reese/Nicole projects with Sydney, no Blake, not even in the rumor pile. And when the Inheritance trailer dropped, that tagline, "What's inherited isn't always wanted." Subtle? No. Effective? Brutally. By April's end, Blake's Netflix movie Glass Chapel fell off the charts. Her press tour with Ryan Reynolds flopped. A PR call leaked. There's a perception issue. Translation? Blake's relevance wasn't fading, it was gone. She had one last shot, a comeback interview set for April 30. She bailed. The editor ran the piece without her, and it read like a career obituary. Meanwhile, Sydney was already filming in rural North Carolina. Indie drama, produced by Nicole, funded by Reese. Premise? A woman rebuilding after an invisible war. You couldn't script a better metaphor. No screaming, no scandals. Just silence. The kind that doesn't cancel you, just forgets you. Because Blake wasn't the villain.